Hi ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dan Streech. I'm one of the shareholders at PAE Nordhavn, along with Jim and Jeff Leishman, and president of the company for the last 41 years. I'm in Taiwan right now at our Tashing factory, our longtime partner for the last 40 plus years. I'm on board Nordhavn 68, number 35. And most Nordhavn aficionados or followers of the company or Dreamer site are already aware of this boat. This is a boat that was ordered by a couple, Brad and Cheryl, who had, actually a younger couple, but who had reached a point in life where the business was being sold. Their daughter was going off to college and they were going to start their new life on their dream Nordhavn. And they put a lot of effort into the special ordering of this boat. It's a gorgeous, absolutely stunning boat. Tragically, last June, last May, Brad was killed in an airplane crash, in a light plane crash, and of course it changed the course of history at that point. We worked with Cheryl and decided to keep building the boat, build the boat out. It was a dream for both of them, and we have finished it now, and all of their work and effort and thought and so forth that went into this boat is now showing itself. So it's being offered for sale now. It's on our website. You'll see it on the Nordhavn site, but it hasn't been very well presented yet. We've been working on the boat, and in the process of working on the boats, when certain areas are finished, they get covered, and there's cardboard, and we don't really actually get to see the complete boat. I'm over here for several reasons. One is to attend the annual Tashing Chinese New Year party, which is tonight, by the way. Really fun event. And this particular boat is very important to me. So while I'm here, and with the boat now being finished, we were able to completely uncover it and present it, basically for the first time in this video, present it to the world as a finished boat. So follow with me. We're going to go ahead and make a walkthrough video of the boat. I probably won't cover everything. I reviewed the original order on this boat and the change order on this boat, change order spreadsheet, and there were over 300 items, notes and changes and clarifications and so forth, and that are part of the building of this boat. It is a spectacular boat, and you'll see it as you walk through here momentarily. It's spectacular in terms of the fit and finish, the pretty brave decision, frankly, to go with the stained mahogany wood and the white painted satin finished B-board vertical staving and overhead staving. And when this boat is finished out with the carpets and the furniture and the bed coverings and pillows and the colors and accessories, it will be, I think it will end up being in the top 5 Nordhavns of all time. I'm extremely impressed with this boat, and we all look forward to seeing her come alive with the next owner, and hope that this, if you're interested in this boat, we hope that this video will help you understand it better. Again, I need to have a disclaimer that this we're going to take at best maybe 20 minutes to make this video, and it will require hours and hours of meetings to go over all the fine details and the drawings and the background and the choices and so forth that were made on it. So this is just to whet your appetite, or just give you a quick education on this particular boat. If you have further interest, you can see more on Nordhavn.com or call your Nordhavn salesman and get more information. So join me for a walk through the boat. I'm excited to show it to you. I just love this beautiful boat. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll start off here in the galley. This beautiful marble countertops, our Miele appliances, the cooktop and oven and microwave. I'm not going to go into specifics of model numbers and so forth in this video, partly because I don't know them, and partly if someone has a more specific interest in this boat, we do have all of that quite a bit on the website, and better than that, you make contact with a Nordhavn salesperson who would start feeding you the specific information. This boat, we're going to pan around now and, well actually let's take a look at this refrigerator first. This is just an example. This Sub-Zero refrigerator is finished in this beautiful, beautiful mahogany with the beautiful hardware, the trim. It's perfect. I'm looking at it. I don't know if it comes through in the film, but it is perfect. Every corner, the gleam of the semi-gloss varnish. I don't have words to describe it. Now we're going to pan around and look at the salon. And well, first let's take a look at this table, which again is perfect. You may not even be able to see it. I took a photo yesterday, and there's so much reflection on it. It's like a mirror. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is varnished mahogany. And Dacheng uses a process where it's sprayed varnish, but it is then color sanded and buffed to get this fine finish on it. And it's so shiny you can't even look at it. Like I'm looking at it now, I can't quite see it. It's too shiny. But it is, just this table is a work of art. The layout on this boat was custom done by Brad and Cheryl, and it is like we do on some of the bigger boats and what is common on super yachts, is that it will have furniture in it. Right now it is without built-in furniture, so the eventual buyer of this boat will choose the furniture and the decor of it and so forth to finish out the salon. We'll have chairs on this side of the table, and this is fixed bench seating right here. And again, as you pan around and look at the overhead, you'll see the lovely semi-gloss beadboard, the white with that beautiful mahogany finish. And I want to point out while we're looking at it that door. These doors are these are made in the factory by Dacheng. These are fiberglass. They made up molds for them. So this is all molded fiberglass. Over the years, we've used a lot of aluminum doors, which you end up battling corrosion and need for paint and so forth. So these are just our glossy gel coat fiberglass with, of course, the dogs as we have on all the exterior doors, and the full glass insert for light and visibility. Beautiful, beautiful. And the side windows are typical Nordhavn there. 12 millimeter half-inch glass, tempered glass, bulletproof. I don't know, I can't recall ever losing a window in Nordhavn. But furthermore, we look at it when we do the exterior of the boat. There are lugs on there for storm plates if someone chooses to put those on later for some really ultra type offshore work. But personally, I don't think you need it. This also, as we can see right here, is a wide body boat. So there will be on other versions of 68, you have a walkway on this port side, but on the wide body boat, which many Nordhavns are wide bodies, is pushed out about 20 inches, and that's how we get this gigantic, basic skating rink salon here. And while we're just oohing and eyeing over beautiful things, this floor is artwork to behold. This teak sole here. This is just magnificent to look at. It is teak, and the Nordhavn boats, when you see a teak, or we use cherry and other woods sometimes, but that's a solid wood. It's about a 1/4 inch thick teak planks that are laid down one by one with the stained dark wood in between. And when this is finished out with furniture and the right carpeting and so forth, it'll be beyond description of beautiful. So this is quite an expansive teak that we're looking at here. Over in this corner, we've got a TV set on a lift that will, you can see the little outline here of the top. So with the push of a button, that will come up. See it hiding down there. Okay, from here we will walk forward into the owner's stateroom. Actually, before we get there, there's a little day head right here. So you got your technical toilet off on the left, little sink and so forth there. In a moment, we'll go down these stairs into the lower staterooms. For the moment, we're just coming down these 4 steps right here and stepping into the owner's stateroom. You'll see the same mahogany and beadboard decor again here. Your king-size bed, which is standard on these 68s. Beautiful headboard design that came out lovely. The sole in here is plywood at the moment, so this will be a carpeted room when the commissioning is complete. Lovely desk here. This has the vertical windows. These came later in the life of the Nordhavn 68 project. They're just wonderful. They bring in a lot of light. Give a nice look to the room. Your typical hatches that we use with the privacy one direction, bug screen the other direction. Cedar lined hanging lockers, his and hers on each side. One of the nice things about, there's like 1,000 nice things about this boat, but one of them on a aft pilot house boat like this is that the owner's stateroom is above us is the foredeck of the boat, and so you've got natural hatches. You've got 3 hatches that open up into the stateroom, so they can be opened up for natural ventilation and light. Coming in is the owner's head. Lovely fixtures chosen by the owners. Marble countertops. Same fit and finish. Big shower with marble seat in there. And toilet up forward for privacy. Also, one of the things that people may not know about modern Nordhavns is how the doors are built. This door and every door is fitted with a gasket. You can't see here, we'll get a different shot, but when you shut the door, it's like shutting the door to the finest Mercedes. There's no rattling. It's sealed off from noise or other disturbance, but you just want to like shut it a couple times just to enjoy the feel of it. It has a lovely, it is superb. Let's turn and we can actually point out the gasket right here. Here is the gasket that's in all these interior doors. And the door itself, I mean, if I took this thing up, it probably weighs 50 pounds. It's a monster of solid, beautiful mahogany and then the inlay panels. Better than a Mercedes. Actually, I wish my Mercedes was that good. Wish I had a Mercedes. Okay, follow me now. Okay, we're coming down into the guest stateroom area of the 68. There's, when we turn around and start walking aft, we walk down a hallway, but going forward, we've got the laundry facilities here with the washer and dryer. These doors are nifty, they push all the way back in and lock, so when you're doing your laundry, you can just keep those doors open that way. Nice little bunk, probably for kids or overflow guests could go in here. Teak and Blackwood sole. This is a very, very nice stateroom here. The large double berth and in-suite head, which will come in and film here in a moment, with of course shower also. So actually stayed in this stateroom when I was cruising and a guest aboard Peter Bison's boat, and got just like a king in here. It's big bed, in-suite head, plenty of storage. Lights go on automatically, cedar lined. Storage underneath. These windows here, which are pretty close to the water line, the glass in those, we normally use 1/2-inch glass in the salon windows and elsewhere around the boat. These are 3/4-inch glass, tempered glass. They're bonded in from the outside. They're super strong. Never have to worry about those. I'm just looking up at your typical balances for the air conditioning, which are nicely done, nicely finished, integrated with the boat. I'm back out in the hallway now, and we're going further to the back and to another stateroom. Double berth, in-suite head and shower. So you've got two beautiful staterooms, double staterooms here that you don't have to whisper a word of apology when your guests come aboard this boat. They'll be living like royalty. Now, further aft, going into this hallway, we go through this door, which is like a vault door. It is a vault door. It's watertight. It's a heavy-duty door with doors on it that turns down and shut. The engine itself is a watertight compartment. We're going to come back to that. That's a hole. That is a hole. That should have its own. That should have its own zip code. That is quite a place back there. There's so much going on. So I don't want to just do it a little bit right now. I want to finish the pilot house and we'll come back to it. Actually, while we're here, let's take a look at the electrical panel. I'm just talking disapproval because that's all that applies to this boat. If we can open this, these are locked here. I think we'll come back to this in a minute and open this and take a look behind it. It's a work of art. The doshing wiring, all 10 wiring, of course, AURC approved. Our engineers on the PAE side, Mike Talaria, the project managers, the FATA, the engineer on this side, they are artists when it comes to the wiring and engineering work on these panels. And they have evolved over the years too. We've now got the backlit labels on them. So these are the product of 30 years of evolution, and they're off the chart. We're going to open this up a little bit later, and the techies that are watching this they'll pause and want to look at it more. Okay, now we're going to walk up to the pilot house. Okay, everywhere I look on this boat, I see stuff. Look at this rail. I find when you come up here, get a shot of this rail. I mean, just this rail alone. If anybody's ever worked in wood, this is a piece of mahogany that has compound curves to it. It's perfectly finished, has perfect hardware, and you'll notice the attachment points are bent down so they don't hit your fingers when you drag your fingers along on it. It's one of a million things on this boat that Hardy has talked about, but it is gorgeous. Everywhere I look, perfect underneath. I haven't even looked, but I swear, I guarantee if I went underneath that table and looked at it, it would be perfect. Okay, we're up in the pilot house now. The helm chairs are not in here yet. We don't usually ship those over the factory. We install those. They're pretty easy to install during commissioning at the commissioning location. This boat sitting here still in Taiwan. It's within our ability to ship it anywhere. It's a 60 cycle boat, so it probably will go to the east coast or west coast of America or Canada. But maybe not. I'll explain some things later in the electrical system that illustrate that this boat could go to Europe and be happy, or Australia. But in any case, the helm chairs will be installed later, but imagine 2 helm chairs here. I'm not going to go into the specifics of the electronics package. It's actually on our website, a very comprehensive list. It's a lot of good stuff, and it would be called up on these 3 flat screens, not to mention autopilots, cameras, communication, TV, radios, the works. So again, I'm not going to try to, frankly, I don't even know, but I'm not going to try to explain that to you right now. If you do have a deeper interest in the boat, it is on the Nordhavn site. Engine controls, wing and main. These are typical factory supplied items. These aren't really part of the electrical system, but monitoring for blowers and pumps that are on, and indicator panel of which pump is running when. So if you have an automatic bilge pump coming on, and you can see it here. If a pump should run away somehow, you can see it there. This is an interesting feature that we've gone to in recent years, where we've eliminated the center mullion on the window facing forward. So I'm standing here looking out, just a magnificent view. In previous years, you'd be kind of staring into a mullion, but not now. Same teak and blackwood sole. Tables. This table slides out, so sometimes people will take this out. Oh my gosh, that is so perfect. This boat is so perfect. And I'm going to do a test. I have not done this before. I'm going to pull this table out, and I'm going to show you before I even look at it myself. A little bit dirty, but perfect. Perfect. That's what you get with these boats. Shocking. Unbelievable. But you might, oh, I was kidding. You might want to just leave that table out. Leave a leaf out, I should say, or not. So there's an interesting feature of this boat, which we'll see in the engine room, we'll see on the exterior views. It's a dry exhaust boat, but we have routed the exhaust off to the starboard side. So you'll see it asymmetrical from the outside of the boat, but it has allowed us to get to free up some real estate here where the stack would normally come up and give us the lovely stateroom. It's a little single berth stateroom here. I mean, you'd be happy as a clam in this room. Beautiful, nice little bunk here, window, storage. Nice cedar lined. All these hanging lockers are cedar lined. Nice snow coming out there. The exhaust is coming up in kind of that dead zone right there. And then you've got head and shower here. So this can actually be a standalone stateroom for guests or captain, if you have a captain on board, or just a day head for normal cruising on the boat. This table. So this pretty much concludes the interior of the boat. We will dive into the engine room now and enjoy that. There's a lot of goodies in there. So follow me. So let's start off with the beast here. This is a single engine boat, dry exhaust, as I mentioned, keel cooled, the classic configuration that the majority of Nordhavns have seen over the last 30 years. This configuration has crossed many oceans, circumnavigated the world, run thousands of hours. Some of the older Nordhavns are running up in the 8 or 9 or 10,000 hour usage numbers. So this beast here it'll outlast us all. Typical to Nordhavns and what Cascade, we get these engines from Cascade, and they do a lot of special stuff for us, including these big alternators, which I don't know their amperage. I think they're around 200 amps each, and they're run off of a notched serpentine belt, so you get good grab on there, and these can really crank out some amps. We're going to get to later some of the concept of the electrical system. We've got big inverters on board the boat. We've got 10 kW of inverting, so they're, depending on the operator and the conditions and so forth, you can live off of the alternator output through the inverters for much of what goes on the boat. So these dump into the 12 8D house batteries, and then split off to the separate engine start batteries, separate for this, for the wing engine, and for the generators. You've got 3 tanks on the boat, totaling 3,100 gallons, I believe. We've got the sight gauges on here. This is a Nordhavn feature. Again, it's been around for years. It's evolved over time. This is kind of a nifty feature here. It's we first started having to do that for the CE boats in Europe, but it's an automatic shut off. The CE folks were worried that if there was a fire, this thing could burn up and you'd have fuel spilling out. So this is normally always closed. So when you want to check your fuel levels, this is momentary. You just open that up and see what you get on there. Got your nice workbench here. This will get a real sweet tool chest that'll go in during commissioning. But your happy place is here, puttering on your boat, and you've got your beautiful sink, vise, lighting. You can check your tanks from here. You can start and stop your engine from here. You wouldn't particularly run the boat from here, but if you came down and you saw smoke, or something alarmed you, you could turn the engine off right here. Most likely, if you were servicing the engine or changing oil, or want to kick it over for one reason or another, you would use these controls for that. So you wouldn't have to be running up and down upstairs. They do nice pipe work here. This is all your coolant water here, custom stainless steel piping, polished, and that leads out to the fuel cooler. God, look at this engine bed, and that's I know this is a real heavy stainless steel cap right here, but I know what's under it, and it's a monster big timber gizmo that is shaped and bonded into the boat, glassed over heavily, and then tied in over a long attachment point on the hull, and then capped with this stainless steel. So it is that engine is not going anywhere. Well, as long as we're here, we're looking at the wing engine, which is, I believe, 160 horsepower, also John Deere. It's on a V drive, which is very common with with wing engines on Nordhavns, and it allows us to get the engine further back and kind of tucked in the corner. Later, we'll go on the exterior of the boat and see the propeller and shaft and so forth as it comes out. It has its own propeller. It's a folding propeller, so it folds out of the way when you're underway to reduce the drag, and then if you need it for propulsion, it swings out centrifugally, and off you go. very seldom needed for propulsion, almost never needed for propulsion. But this engine also, on the other end of it, we'll see it, there's a hydraulic pump on it, big whopper of a pump. And for the hydraulic system, that is your principal power for it, although I'm going to show you two other pumps also, but that's the big mama there that will run your thrusters. Actually, it'll run all the hydraulics, but primarily it's used for the thrusters, which are X horsepower. I can't remember. I think 37 horsepower, but beautiful hydraulic thrusters that will run essentially indefinitely, and the controls for them are in 5 locations. They're proportional controls, so you can throttle them to affect the power. You can. We oftentimes hear from the Florida folks that they're waiting for a bridge to open. They may wait 30 minutes or so, and there's current, and there's other boats, and they're stressed out. But with those thrusters, you can just, as long as you need to, you can keep the boat in position, or spin it, or make it go sideways. Do whatever you want. So over the years, these hydraulic thrusters and the wing engine powering them has become a beloved feature of Nordhavn's, and just like everything else in this age of maturity of all of us, with PAE Nordhavn, Tashing, all the owner feedback, these hydraulic systems are fully and beautifully developed with how the plumbing is configured, the design work, the algorithms of the control systems, the logic of how it's all laid out. And when you look around here, I mean, this is a boat that has been hot a couple times, and there's not a leak, there's not a moist spot. It's bone dry and dusty. That's what you get with these modern boats. Additionally, on the fuel system, which we're going to, I see the camera pointing over there, we'll get to that now. Now, there, ladies and gentlemen, is quite a piece of work. That is your sort of classic modern Nordhavn day tank, running tank, whatever you want to call it. It was actually very well described in that recent video on the Nordhavn 60. But the main tanks drain into it. We draw from it at the bottom. You can see the supply zones there, the valves. But below that, there's actually a sump that would catch any debris or water or whatever, and an indicator up in the pilot house that indicates if you do have that problem, and you can drain that off. I mean, just like a high wing airplane, you see the folks do sometimes. You get a little cup down there and drain off the nasty stuff, and if there's no nasty stuff, then you're in business. It also has a sight gauge on it. We have a transfer system. I probably shouldn't spend too much time on that because all these drawings are in the package, and if you haven't seen them, we can supply them to you. But the Nordhavn fuel systems are really fun, really fun, and very well evolved. But we can, with this transfer pump, there's many ways to run the fuel system. Typically, it's done in a very simple way with gravity, but you can force the fuel around also with the transfer pumps. You are polishing and filtering the fuel when you transfer it, or you can supply from and return to the same tank and simply polish it and clean it in the filters. So we do see on some of the bigger boats the centrifugal fuel polishing systems, but many people don't have those systems and cruise happily with this particular package. I love it. I mean, this is how I do it on my own boat. I wish this was my own boat. And again, everywhere you look, these fittings are tidy and clean and dry. All that hose, by the way, is Aeroquip. I believe 234 is the model number of it, but that's all fire-resistant approved hose. It satisfies the Europeans for the CE boats, which this isn't. While we're pointed in the general direction, this boat has the STAR system on it, the stabilizing at rest system. zero speed, some people call it. And so when you, and when we go to the outside of the boat, I'll show you the fin, which has a little bit of a different shape than the typical Nordhavn shaped fin. So should you choose to use it at anchor, or even in open ocean, if you stop, you catch a fish or whatever, and one of the things that any boat does, you're all happy, you're stabilized, moving along in open ocean, and you stop whatever to let's say land a fish or look at something interesting. If it's an open ocean situation, the boat may well be rolling at that point, and this star system, you kick that in, and it will. It's amazing. I mean, it just straightens the boat up. So this hydraulic pump on the generator generates the hydraulic power needed to operate that star system. The main engine, may well be off or at idle at that point, and it wouldn't have enough oomph to run the star system. So that's a lovely extra feature on this boat. It's one of the many extras that make this boat so special and so valuable. So let's keep walking aft here. Yeah, there's this has oversized blowers. There's always, we have things we call religious subjects where people get all worked up on opinions of. There's probably about 10 subjects. They're really fun. I enjoy it when the dreamer's side or a conversation starts arguing or discussing these things, and there's kind of no right or wrong. I mean, those who are passionate would probably say there's a wrong, but it in the bigger picture, it illustrates just how wonderful it is to love these boats. You love them enough to care about this stuff. So engine room ventilation is a religious subject. It gets talked about endlessly. There are opinions, but there won't be any opinions of this boat. This has oversized blowers on it, and those louvers on there. If this fire bottle goes off, so if this fire bottle goes off either by the heat sensor on it or by manually pulling it, there's a exterior manual pull on it, then there's a little wire, little relay on this side. You can't see it where the camera's pointed, but that goes to a relay box, and all these tags will come off later. That's just stuff we always leave that on there until final commissioning, just in case there's a notice or a whatever, a label on a pillow or something. But once that fire bottle goes off, then that little switch there leads to a relay box, and a lot of things happen at that point. Among them is it kills the engines, it shuts off the blowers and closes those louvers on there, so it contains the fire inside the engine room, and it douses it with the chemical. So again, this is a very well developed installation and system that has been looked at, approved, and insurance people and surveyors and everybody has played a part in the evolution of it to get to this point. This is your main generator right here, Northern Lights, 27 kW, I believe. Your Torrid water heater. I think this baby's 50 gallons. Yes. And there's actually, there's so many things about this boat. Every time I look around, I see another thing. I'm seeing this right here, and until now, I didn't actually put two and two together, but I know what this is. Later, when we get to the lazarette, we're going to see the diesel-fired boiler heating system. And apparently, we're drawing off of that heating system and running it through this water heater to assist the normal electric heating on here. So they're probably getting ahead of myself, but there are people who configure their boat and enjoy setting their boat up so that it can run through the night without an inverter, without a generator going. And a lot of times you see it up in the Pacific Northwest, or you see it in places where air conditioning isn't required. So this particular boat, with the on a chilly Pacific Northwest evening, there's 12 AD batteries in the boat for the house, and with the 10 kW of inverter, you can run your appliances, your TV, your what have you. If heating is required electrically, whether it be through the reverse cycle of the chiller of the compressors, which we're going to see in a moment, or from the inductive heating, which we also have, that takes a lot of juice. So in that case, you would go over to this diesel-fired heating system, kick that on. The pumps and blowers and so forth are either low draw AC, which would come out of the inverter, or DC, and so the boat can live through the night heated, lights, appliances, and so forth off the batteries. And as a sidebar to the benefit of that boiler is that you pull some of that hot water and run it through a heat exchanger in your water heater here, and get hot water. Actually, I found there's a good view of the mechanism that drives the that louver there for shutting off the blowers. Also a good view of through holes, labels, access, and then that's your hydraulic tank for the hydraulic system there, just to the left. Okay, well, we're going to. We ain't finished. In fact, we're actually getting into the fun zone here through this next door. This is the aft end of the engine room, through another watertight, beautiful vault door into the lazarette. So off we go. Should have worn knee pads. God, there are so many things in this boat. When I reviewed it this morning, I didn't even see this one. That's a dive compressor over there. Jeez, there's a lot of stuff on this boat. So, okay, so we've got a dive compressor there. We've got our chargers here. So, we've got two of these, and I believe they're 100 amps each. And these Victron chargers are pretty nifty, pretty smart, and they will take either 50 cycle or 60 cycle input. And so if this is basically a 60 cycle boat, but if you're over in Europe with this boat, you can plug these in, charge your batteries, live off of your inverters, and additionally, it's behind iPhone now, we're going to get it in a minute, the air conditioning has VFD drives on it, which can accept 50 or 60 cycles, 240 volts, but you could run those in Europe off of 50 cycle European power. So certainly for an American or a 60 cycle person cruising in Europe can get by very nicely by understanding, and we help. There's pages and pages of drawings and so forth, understanding the systems, and how you plug it in and make it work. But this boat can be very alive and very happy in a 50 cycle environment. So right behind here is not visible in the camera are the 12 batteries. Another fire bottle here that'll pop off if bad things happen. The funny looking snake thing back there is the guide to the blend-in cords. So you've got two cords for the boat. They're power driven, so you don't have to manhandle it because they're 50 amp cords, just big old monsters that are, you'd basically be breathing hard if you had to roll that thing up by hand. So you press a button, it pulls it in or pushes it out, and it coils into a bucket there. Normally you wouldn't need both cords. But there are many, and I won't go into them now, but it's a Mike Tolaria conversation. There are many different configurations of how you can plug the boat in different voltages, how the panel is configured to which cord you pull off of, blending the cords, what have you. So again, not going to go into it now, but it's the product of 30 years of evolution, and it is gorgeous. I can see the emergency tiller back there. You can't see it, that's just the nose of it there. There's a just that little hole right there leads up through the cockpit. We're below the cockpit right now, and the emergency tiller would drop down and sit on that square rudder stock that you see. The two arms sticking out there are the rudder feedback units for the autopilot. All done, all installed. And we've got two gorgeous water makers here. I'm not quite sure of their capacity. Yeah, so they run off of 50 or 60 hertz also. God, they're either, well, of course, if you're plugged in, you don't need a water maker, but there's their capacity there. Yeah, it looks like they're nice. We have all that information. Again, I'm skipping over a lot of things here. If you have specific interest in this boat, carve out a day, and there's spreadsheets, drawings, information galore. That probably things I don't even. I guarantee you things I don't even know about the boat. So this is your second generator over here. That is 21 kW. No, 16 kW. So a little sweet generator. Probably anytime you're not running air conditioning, you run that. I just found something else I didn't remember seeing on the list. This has the Spot Zero washdown system on it, which is part of the water maker system.
Yes,
yeah.
And they can fit from the dock.
Oh, from the dock.
Yeah.
Okay, so does this
both way?
So don't get nervous that the Nordhavn president doesn't have this stuff. So now does this use the water maker compressors?
Yes.
Okay, so you take dock water, which is essentially pretty not salt water.
Yeah.
And easier to run through the membranes.
Yes.
You run it through the Spot Zero. You then have essentially sort of deionized water for washing the boat.
Yeah.
So then, if you're an old guy like me who can't climb all around the boat to wash it, you spray it down with this, and with this deionized water. It's kind of where deionized is Spot Zero water. It's kind of what you see them do on car lots and so forth when they're moving car to car and hosing them off so it doesn't leave a water spot. So again, this boat is so full of surprises. Okay, this is beautiful stuff. You just want to be here. You just want to. Big rams for steering. This base that these rams bolt onto. I've seen them build the boat, and this is you could probably lift the whole boat by this structure right here. And there's a metal cap underneath that's glassed over. So these are machine screws that bolt that down on there. 2 autopilot pumps, and then this is your stern thruster here. It's a kind of a thing that Nordhavn, I don't know if we invented it or something, I haven't seen it in other boats, but where we angle the stern thrust, and so we don't have to mount it on the back of the boat. Sometimes I've seen some of the folks mount something on the back of the boat, and it's a Mickey Mouse. It's they're just hackers who do that. This is the right way to do it. And this is your little your little heater, your diesel-fired boiler, and so it circulates the hot water through a whole plumbing system throughout the boat. To actually, here's a little air handler right here. So these are located in various places around the boat. It's probably, I don't know, 10 or 12 of them or whatever. But it's essentially just like a heater in your car. So it's got a little radiator in there, hot water goes in, and it blows the hot air out. So this is a pricey thing. You'd be shocked what these babies cost. And it involves, you got to supply fuel to it. You got to vent the hot exhaust. You got to run this stuff all through the boat. You got to woodwork around these air handlers, and being installed in the boat like this at the factory, it's all blended in with the factory woodwork. And somebody someday up in Scandinavia or Pacific Northwest or up in Maine or whatever is going to be loving this machine. The Florida folks probably don't need it, but it'll earn its keep someday. I've been on boats that have these running, and it's just lovely. So here's your air conditioning. Again, this is the latest from Dometic. The VFDs are a really nice feature on lowering the power requirements and being able to put 50 or 60 cycle into the units. Now these things are laying around. This looks a little trashy, but the Dachshund just puts all the stuff here, so in case there's some weird fire or something like that, we can save the boat. I think that's about it for the lazarette. Yeah, so actually I was just getting ready to take us out of the lazarette, but missed this nice feature here, the oil transfer system, or oil pumping system. So this, so we've got the main engine and wing engine and the generators to pull oil out of or pump oil back into each of those units, so you don't have to get underneath them, and you can't even hardly get underneath them to drain oil out. This is all done in a very sanitary way. This one is set up where you would use 5-gallon pails and dip that hose into them. So yeah, oil change pump. Oh, there's one of the cameras too. Again, I haven't gone into the specifics of the electronics package, and like I said up in the pilot house, just go on Nordhavn.com in the brokerage section. This boat is listed there, and the electronic specs, the PDF of that is there. And it's a long list. So we were just getting ready to crawl out of here, and iPhone reminded me, and again, there's so many surprises on this boat, that there's another thing. If you look at this right here, that is a little sensor. And so the two engine room doors and all the exterior doors have these sensors on them that indicate if the door's open, and it reads out up in the pilot house. So if you're cruising along and you really shouldn't have this door open, maybe somebody goes in and forgets to close it. It's really good to keep this door closed if you don't need it open. So you can tell while up in the pilot house if this door is ajar or open, and frankly, all of the other exterior doors are fitted with it also. So again, another really nice feature. I don't know what it costs, but ain't cheap. It's here. It's part of the boat. Ladies and gentlemen, I said that we were going to come back to the electrical panels. These actually are locked, so it requires a special tool to get them open, so people aren't horsing around in there, or kids or whatever. So we've got them unlocked now, and behold, magnificence. This is beyond words of precision, loveliness, color coding all to ABS or ABYC standards, relays. Actually, this stuff's so beyond me now, but it's not beyond our engineers, Mike Talaria and the guys that built it. They're a typical new Nordhavn now has about 75 pages of electrical drawings, and the function and installation and completion of the design concept is just perfect. It is just gorgeous. this is all AC stuff right here. So there's a cover that's this is DC low voltage, so it won't hurt you. But this is all covered right here because it's high voltage. So even when the doors are open, you'd have to work at it to shock yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, we're on the outside of the boat now, and sometimes these video reports of the boat don't have this opportunity to see the boat out of the water. So I'm going to take advantage of that right now and walk around and show you a few of the nice features that we don't normally get to see. I'm going to start off with an odd one that you may not even think about, but this illustrates the wisdom and the experience that comes with years. When you look at that rub rail there along the side of the boat and at the back, the extended swim step, you'll see a radius on the bottom. Now, why is that radius there? Well, a square rub rail, which frankly we had many years ago and competitors still have, will cause a little wave that will cause a slapping sound, and that radius that Jeff designs in there reduces that, pretty much eliminates it. It's a really tricky little feature that a lot of people don't even know about. Looking, again, this is the extended swim step on this boat, and on the top, we'll get a picture later, it's beautifully teak covered, but this is a big fun swim step. The ladder that you just see a bit of it sticking out there, that pulls out and deploys out, and it's positioned like that. So if a swimmer is in the water and is alone and can't get help, they can reach that. That's actually a CE requirement that we picked up for the CE boat and then just fit the standard of the boat. But it's a nifty feature. Those staples, we call them, the U-shaped brackets, they lift out and can be moved out of the way if you're fishing or want them out of the way for whatever reason. Right here, we have the exterior openings for the stern thruster. We looked at those on the inside when we were in the Lazarette. That's what it looks like on the outside. This is your folding propeller that we talked about. So when you're underway with the main engine, and 99.9% of the time, that stays in that position to minimize the drag. If you put it in gear and spin it, it goes out like that to come in a normal propeller. Further up in there, a little bit crowded here, but there's your fuel cooler for the main engine. Big old monster propeller, it's a 44-inch propeller. 3.5-1 reduction ratio on the gearbox, so this ends up spinning relatively slowly. This boat typically would run roughly 1,400 RPM, so you divide that by 3.5, that's what this is at. Kind of this spurs line cutters. I don't know if there's enough light to show, we might get up to the other side, but notice how nicely, beautifully shaped and paired all this is here. That Jeff does all that work to have the minimum amount of water disturbance moving towards the propeller. Big old monster rudder, gorgeous big beast. This is people oftentimes don't know what this is for here. That's a little panel that is removable so that if you have to pull the shaft, you pull the prop cord and you turn the rudder. You have to disconnect the rams actually. You can turn the rudder clear sideways and then the shaft will actually slide out through this hole. So that's what that's there for. Seldom, almost never needed, but very needed. This rudder shoe is a monster. It's a big stainless steel assembly. It joins up in the here with a bolts and rivets and so forth. And then down at this, Lindsay can't see it very well. At this point right here, there's a break in it, so you could unbolt it, and this back nose piece will drop out if you ever need to pull the rudder out of the boat. So you would loosen things up inside. Basically, you got to get over a pit or something. Take this off, and you can drop the whole thing on. That rub rail on there, and the upper rub rail, that isn't just some flimsy piece of metal. That's solid, and it's actually custom made for the boat. It's not a product. They cut that out of solid plate and shape it and radius it and polish it and so forth. So that in itself, I think it's probably like a quarter to 3/8 of an inch thick. Just brutally strong. And those are the port lights I was talking about that we could see from inside the stateroom. Again, that's a 3/4 inch glass. They are those are bonded in from the outside and sealed, so we don't have any frames like we used to have. I showed you the fiberglass doors earlier, and the windows now have no frames on them. For years we had aluminum frames, and you had the old peeling paint issue. We don't have that anymore at all. Those windows are bonded in from the outside and neatly trimmed with a caulking. And there's the lugs for the storm plate windows. You can see them up there if anyone later decides to put those on. There's the end of that rub rail that transitions into that larger footprint there, just to deflect if you're really scraping on a piling or just doing a nasty mistake of some kind. That'll deflect the boat away, and you probably end up with no damage at all. The piling will be a mess, but not the boat. There's your forward bow thruster, and some people wonder what that deflection shield piece is on there. And many years ago, we had a condition where there was in certain conditions, you get a water flow through the tube when you're underway, and it would spin the blades. It didn't really hurt anything, but you could hear it. It was kind of annoying. So Jeff designed that deflection piece there to create whatever it created, low pressure behind it, or deflect the water away. Anyway, it fixed it. So you'll see that on every non-bulbous bow 68, which is every 68 actually, because it doesn't have a bulbous bow. That nozzle sticking out of the above the N68 there, that's the anchor wash system. There's a hydraulically operated pump down in the bilge area there that directs water up there. It's 180 gallons a minute. It's just a fire hose that comes out there. So it blasts your chain if you're anchored in muddy water or muddy bottom, and you got some kind of nasty stuff coming aboard with the chain. That'll knock it off nicely. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we're up on the flybridge now of the Nordhavn 68. The dash panel is relatively simple. You've got autopilot controls, engine controls, pretty much all of your electronics condensed down to one screen here. Most of what you do up here is run along on autopilot or sit around and enjoy things. So it doesn't have, it's not as expensive as the pilot house. But beautiful place. I love this seating area here. This is your sundowner area with your cocktails and the boat anchored, weathercocked into the wind, and lovely wall that's around you. Place up here, just that ladder is go around in the back there in a minute. That ladder takes us up to the top just for servicing. You wouldn't normally go up there just for servicing all the antennas and domes and goodies that are up there. You might end up with some chairs, a little table out here. Depending what you're going to do. This is an interesting configuration here. I mentioned earlier about the offset exhaust. So the exhaust comes up here on the starboard side, and then we have an arch there. Usually you see that arch on. I've seen that before on the engine boats, but even on the single engine boat, I would use the arch for mounting on your domes and so forth, and run the exhaust up on here on the starboard side. Access here. Beautiful stuff. Nicely displayed. People forget that those exhaust systems have to be engineered to grow. They grow quite a bit when they get hot. So there's slip joints and soft mounts and so on to accommodate for that, and also to keep vibration out of the boat. Out of the pilot house on the port side, and we're walking forward to the Portuguese bridge. It's got your engine controls here and thruster controls. So if you're coming into typically a side tie or in a tight spot, and you just want to look over the side and see what you're doing, you can maneuver the boat here with the main engine and with thruster controls. And again, these are proportional controls, and they stick wherever you put them. So you can look. Basically get people clapping from the dock on how good it is. This is the gasoline tank in here. And that's there'll be a hose system on there at the moment. That's for filling your dinghies. Take a look at these hinges here on the Portuguese bridge door. Big, solid chunks of stainless steel. Beautifully engineered. These pantograph hinges. I don't know what this whole assembly weighs, but it's kind of like the Lockheeds in the Panama Canal. But it's just perfectly balanced. I can remove this lock right here, and then I'm just with. Literally, you can't see it. Like with one finger, I can move this door so easily, and it'll come around and fall into place. And then would dog down if you were at sea or whatever. Normally you probably leave it open, but these are just really strong, really pretty, big assembly. Again, I'm just moving it literally with one finger here. So oftentimes overlooked. I didn't want to think about what that cost. A lovely feature on the boat. We're on the foredeck of the boat now, and that's one of the nice features of an aft pilot house boat is that you have that nice big open foredeck for carrying your shore boats and so forth. This will carry a 17-foot boat. We have a 2,500-pound capacity davit. It's extendable. It's retracted right now, but it will extend out such you can actually launch the dinghy on either side of the boat, despite the fact it's offset there, or over the front of the boat if you need to. So sometimes you kind of get trapped into a slip or a side tie where you need to reach both sides of the boat to launch the dinghy. So very nice steelhead davit. We have good luck with those. We love them. The Maxwell windlass was great. Big Freeman deck hatches for getting into the chain storage area and anything else that fenders or lines, whatever else you want to store in there. This whole front little area right here is isolated with this dam right here, and so you've got drains for that. So if you get nastiness or dirty water or whatever, it won't drain back on the rest of the deck. It'll drain overboard. These are a fun feature that kind of go unheralded. This is forward bilge air intake, and this would have a loop, and it's pretty well water protected. But if you're really going into battle with the boat, you've got a way actually to close that off. So if you bury the bow or whatever, so if you're really doing some heavy work, you can go without that ventilation for a while and just close this off. Look how nice these windows are. These are the generation, I don't know, 4 probably windows that Nordhavn has seen over the years. They're now completely frameless, and they're, as I mentioned before, they're half-inch tempered glass, and they lay into a bed of adhesive, and then there's a product, I don't know the name of it, that's used to trim out the edges, and it's just absolutely sweet and sanitary and clean. And the best news is there's no frames to corrode or need to be painted or whatever, and it's a very, very sexy. And as always, we've got the curved windows. That's kind of a Nordhavn staple, and they're not easy. Curved windows are a lot of work to get right, and many builders, in fact, I always take it as a measure to see if a builder really is committed to making something nice. If you see that they put a corner post here so they can have flat windows on the side and the front, I don't know, that's like points off in my book. The really sanitary look is the curved glass. You don't see it often. Just on the nice boats. The cockpit on the 68, lovely place to be. One of my favorite areas is this seating area here. This is just, it's undercover. Us old folks now have had our lifetime doses of sun, so it's nice to have the extended cover that keeps you sitting in the shade here. Beautiful teak table, cushions, so you can put a couple chairs up here if you were seating. And I've seen photos of probably 8 or 10 people around this table, just loving life. So this is one of my favorite areas. As with that other table, this, I won't do it, but you can see the seam there. That leaf pulls out to store, just make it easier to get in and out. You might just pull it out to get somebody inside and put it back in again. So lovely area. Seating in the cockpit. Set of engine controls here. So, nice light just came on when I opened that. So you can, from time to time, you need to back into a slip. And so when you're skilled with the boat, and it doesn't take long to get skilled, using the cluster and these controls right here, you can just back right into a slip and stop the boat, adjust it to from side to side if you need to, and park it. And one of the things that I like to do, if you back in and maybe you're short-handed, or even if you're not, you can get the boat in position, and then I've said it a couple times, I'm saying again, these thruster controls are proportional, and that's a friction control. There's friction control, so you can set it where you want it, maybe 20% power or so. So let's say you back into a dock, you haven't really tied up yet, you can kind of stick the boat against the dock with light load on it, and just let it run as long as you want while you get your lines tied up and so forth. So these aft controls are very nice. They're also nice if you fish and you're backing down on a fish or controlling the boat while someone's bringing a fish in. You oftentimes see people on these stern controls. You got a winch here. This is an electric winch here, so it's kind of a snubber winch. You can, if you're tied up you want to get yourself tighter into a dock, you can use this snubber winch. Got barbecue here, of course. Relay. Electric. There's no gas on this boat. And here, that's an ice maker.
Yeah.
So you've got the quantity, but enough. sink right here for washing your hands, or if you're fishing, or just nasty stuff. If you got beach combing or got sand, knock that down if you want, or get this lower if you're laying stuff on top of here. That's I mentioned earlier about the emergency tiller. That plate would come out right there, and that's where your tiller arm would come up through. If you had to hand steer the boat, if you lost your hydraulics for some reason. Very, very rare, of course, but you've got to be prepared for it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're deeper into the factory now, in the back part of the factory, and as we were talking about the fuel capacity of the Nordhavn 68 that we're on earlier, which is 3,100 gallons in 3 tanks, it made me think that I wanted to talk more about the tanks and get into the different parts of the factory. And as a sidebar, I want to tell you that over my career, I've seen, for the most part, that anybody who loves boats loves the boat factory. And there's always action here. I love to walk around this place and see people working all the lamination work, the carpentry, the energy in the factory. Off to my left, they're laminating the stern of I don't know what hull number, 76. And so, unfortunately, I could not find a tank for you that was open and under construction. We started building fiberglass tanks both here at South Coast Marine in China about 20 years ago. The Nordhavn 50 and the 57 close on its heels were the first boats to get fiberglass tanks, and then it moved over to the 46 and 62 and everything was done thereafter. So we have subsequently built probably several thousand fiberglass tanks and have developed the technique, and they are just works of art to see, especially when they're open. I'd love to see them when they're open, but we don't have one, and so we'll talk about this tank right here. Hi folks, it's Dan back here again. It's about a week later. I'm in Dana Point now, and first of all, I want to thank you. If you're still with me here, this what I thought was going to be about a 20-minute video has ended up being over an hour. So if you've stuck with me through this long, I really want to thank you for that. I wanted to clean up a couple things. One was that as I was watching it, I realized I didn't actually tell you what the engine was. And it's the old John Deere 6135 that we've used for several years now, 425 horsepower, beautiful machine that has served us well. Additionally, when we were near the back of the boat there over on the starboard side looking at the wing engine propeller and the keel cooler, we panned right over about a 12-inch plate there on the bottom of the boat. That's a copper plate, and that is the lightning ground plate. So there's a heavy wire connected to that runs up through the boat, up through the arch, up to the top there, and connects to a lightning dissipator. When we were in the factory, I really wanted to show you an open tank, and we didn't. None of them were, as I said in the video earlier, there were no open tanks there. But here we have now a photo of a fuel tank. You can see it. You can see the baffle system that's in there, and off to the left of that photo, that's actually the baffle grid, what it looks like before it lays into the tank. So all of that is molded fiberglass, vinyl ester resin, fuel resistant, and that baffle grid there lays into the tank. It's all glassed in, and then the lid goes over the top, and it's all glassed in. So it creates a gorgeous big tank, impervious to corrosion. And as a sidebar, and we've discussed it recently in some blogs, the tanks are cored for strength, but it also insulates them. So they're like a big thermos bottle. In the normal running of the boat, the fuel is drawn from and returned to the supply tank, and so you don't really put hot fuel in that tank. But just atmospheric conditions is just heat that can leak out over time. The fuel could get cooler or warmer, and the tank would breathe a little bit. But it's much less likely to do it. The fuel temperature in there will stay very stable over time. So the production of vapor and condensation and water is just
practically zero on these tanks. And if and when you do have it, it drains out of the tank down into the day tank, where it can be noted by an alarm, or just a good operator will check that from time to time and drain it off. Well, folks, that's the end of this video. Thank you again very, very much for